There's a rage that lives inside the wrong. It screeches a call for me to join along. Its piercing sound like a clashing melody is an angry tune that helps me to see that the call isn't in the song, it's in a wailing pain. And the reflection seen is subconsciously stained. My inability to harmonize leaves me displaced. Key players too irate to hear. I stand in a space, isolated, focused, minoring in me. Hidden in plain sight, othered, searching for we. Conflicted tongue like a two-edged sword, black lives me too. Resilient and rage, is there a path forward? The act, the shame, the pain began with her, mostly he. And I'd be justified to fight unhealed, but I am not she. So why just riot? Because a riot as we know it is connected to rage, intolerance, othering, and terrorism. And it's magnified by racism and whiteness. And by whiteness, I mean white supremacist ideologies. So I acknowledge the rage from my community. I understand what it feels like. But then I sit and I try to fill in the blank, right? So I like to say, make it make sense. Help me make sense. I'm filling in the blanks and I wonder, is it the rage from the reality of the atrocities of your ancestors? Or do you have rage, my white brothers and sisters, because of the call to take accountability for their role in history? So why riot? Because I'm talking about a riot of healing. Riot is an acronym for resist injustice and operate transformatively. And doing this will lead to healing. So I was thinking about how we can begin to riot to move us towards healing. And I had an idea as I looked at this acronym and said, we can continue and just have a few more riots with this acronym. So in order to resist injustice and operate transformatively, first, you must research you. As I engage material and scholarly works that exist, I've recognized and realized that my white brothers and sisters love to study me, but I invite you into this riot of healing where you begin to research you. And then interrogate the narratives, not just the narratives in mainstream media, but the narratives in your home, the narratives in your place of work, in your classrooms, in the boardrooms. Begin to interrogate those narratives, examine your assumptions, because those are the things that influence the way you engage and interact in the world and with other people. And then overcome the uncomfortability. My brothers and sisters, my white brothers and sisters, I invite you into my community because I'm always uncomfortable. And when you overcome uncomfortability, it deepens your capacity to hold space for others as they speak their truth. It deepens the capacity for you to be able to sit with something and lean into it instead of withdrawing from it. And then trust yourselves, but your higher selves, the core you that was born with this inherent notion to do what is right. So I'm talking about a riot of healing. And there's nothing sexy about healing. So let's just normalize telling the truth, because healing is painful. It's outright ugly. It can be filled with bitterness and anger and even denial. Healing can look messy. It can look lovely, well put together. And it can sound scary, mean, articulate. It can even sound noisy. Healing is a fight not to give up. It's a struggle with oneself that when it's won, it leads you to your best self. The self that can choose a more excellent way when you're confronted with an injustice, when you're confronted with inequities. It's the self that says, I will do more than just be an ally. I'm going to take a risk. And it starts on a cellular level, on a heart level, and a mind level. Because here's the thing. Anger is simply an unmet need that is continuous. And then it turns into rage. What happens is people are sitting with pain, right? If they sit with pain that is left unresolved, unattended to, and uninterrupted, it will eventually erupt into rage. And that rage can look like a myriad of things. And so I invite you into this restorative pathway where we can riot in a way that brings healing. And I know people sit with this whole idea of my white brothers and sisters, but it happened so long ago and I didn't do it. No, it's not your fault. I get it. It's not your fault. However, it is your inheritance. And then the question becomes for you, my white brothers and sisters, how will you riot in a way that will leverage it, right? Your inheritance. So the riot that you can dig deeper into is to redistribute your inheritance for positive outcomes and true transformation. That's what we can do. And since I'm talking about this restorative pathway, I invite that the rioters in this scenario, a riot for healing, that we wear riot gear. Because this idea of a riot for healing, the riot gear will help us heal our pain that we already have. It will help us navigate the negative terrain that we have yet to cross. It's a restorative pathway to talk back and talk through the uncomfortability. Yes. So what would it look like without riot gear? It would look like, my white brothers and sisters, you showing up, taking up all the space. You saying things that are inappropriate. You assuming because I'm Black, I'm the voice for all Black people. And it's you perpetuating harm when you don't have on your riot gear. And it looks like you grabbing and stealing and co-opting. Right? So I'm talking about riot gear that would be our tools and our strategies and ways of being human with one another. Being human, which is bringing us back to our core selves. And I just want to say, reading a book is not an action. It's not you engaging in riot. It's an activity that's a good start. But I invite you to do more because you can. So to close for this riot, how can we just understand it fully in order to resist injustice and operate transformatively? We understand that it is a return to the scene in history where harm occurred. So it's a call for us to look back. It's a call for you, my white brothers and sisters, to see yourself in history so that we can heal humanity. And it's a call for us to come together because it's about the interconnectedness and to overcome the hardships and the obstacles and doing this anti-racism work and healing our humanity. And then, like John Lewis said, it's this call for us to come together and make good trouble. And lastly, This riot is a return to love. That's what it is. It's a return to love. So that we can heal humanity now. So yes, I invite you. Just riot. But not just any riot. A just riot. Thank you.